Hello everyone. Today in this class we will see about another group from kingdom Protista, that is dinoflagellates. In the previous class we have learned about Chrysophyta. Now in this class we will learn about another group of Protista, that is dinoflagellates. Here these dinoflagellates, they are unicellular, because we all know in Protista we have unicellular eukaryotic organisms. That is, the cell will be having all the membrane bound organelles. So the dinoflagellates, they are unicellular organisms and they are eukaryotic with all the membrane bound organelles, and they are autotrophic. That is, these dinoflagellates are able to prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Here these autotrophic dinoflagellates, they are photoautotrophic, that is, with the help of light, with the help of sunlight, they are able to prepare their own food. Because we already learned that in autotrophic we have two types, photoautotrophic as well as chemoautotrophic. So these dinoflagellates are photoautotrophic organisms, that is, by taking sunlight they will produce their own food. So when they produce their own food, definitely they will be having the pigment chlorophyll, because chlorophyll is responsible for photosynthesis. So chlorophyll will be present. So here, because of this chlorophyll, they perform photosynthesis, and along with the chlorophyll one more major pigment is present, that is fucoxanthin. Along with chlorophyll one more pigment is present, that is called as fucoxanthin. These dinoflagellates may appear in different colors. These dinoflagellates are found in different colors, like we have brown color, yellow color, green color, blue color, red color. They are found in many different colors, and this difference in the colors, as they are found in many different colors, it is because of the concentration of different pigments in them. Because along with this chlorophyll and fucoxanthin, some other pigments are also present. If the red pigment is more, along with chlorophyll and fucoxanthin, if red pigment is more, then they will be appearing in red color. If yellow pigment is more, then they will be appearing as yellow color. So based on the concentration of the pigments, they are found in different colors. So that color is because of the pigment. Concentration of the pigment defines the color of the dinoflagellate. So they are autotrophic, photoautotrophic. They are found in different colors because of the presence of different pigments in them. Now they are mostly marine. Most of the dinoflagellates are marine, that is, they live in salty water, marine water. They live in marine water. Few are found in fresh water, but majority of them are found in marine water. So that is why we say mostly marine. So dinoflagellates are mostly marine, because most of the dinoflagellates are found in marine water, but very few are also found in fresh water. These ones, they are biflagellate. The word itself, you see, dinoflagellates. When we here the word di means two, flagellate means flagella. So these dinoflagellates are having two flagella, or we can even say biflagellate. Bi means two, di or bi, that is two. So these dinoflagellates will be having two flagella, and these flagella will be helping these dinoflagellates in movement or swimming. They help in movement, swimming, and here the dinoflagellates, the cell wall is present and the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. Here on the outer surface, cellulosic plates will be present. Like the cellulosic plates will be present. This is the cell wall. So on this now cellulosic like plates will be present. These plates are made up of cellulose. The cell wall is made up of cellulose. So inside outer surface of the cell wall have plates. Here these ones now, because of these interlocking because of this cellulosic plates, these cellulosic plates now are interlocking with each other. Because of this interlocking of cellulosic plates now, we find grooves, grooves or furrow in between. We find grooves or furrow in between, this one. So in these furrows, in these grooves now, from these furrows or from these grooves, flagella will be arising. As we already said that the dinoflagellates have two flagella. So one will be longitudinal flagella and one will be transverse flagella. One will be arising here because of the cell, that is body structure like this. Here grooves are present, and from this, for example, these cellulosic plates are arranged in such a form that we find here this empty space, furrows or grooves will be present, and from these grooves now, this is the longitudinal, this is the longitudinal groove and this is the transverse groove, longitudinal groove and transverse groove, and from this longitudinal groove arises a longitudinal flagella which will be a little longer. From this longitudinal groove will arise a longitudinal flagella, and from this transverse groove, this is the transverse groove now, from this transverse groove arises another flagella thread-like structure. So it arises from here, it goes back, then again come here. So this is the transverse flagella and this is the longitudinal flagella. The cell wall is having cellulosic plates on the outer surface, and because of the interlocking arrangement of cellulosic plates, here we find longitudinal groove and the transverse groove, and from this longitudinal groove arises longitudinal flagella, and from this transverse groove arises transverse flagella. And this longitudinal flagella is a little longer when compared to transverse flagella. Here this longitudinal flagella helps in movement or swimming. The longitudinal flagella helps in movement and swimming, whereas this transverse flagella, when this transverse flagella moves now, when this transverse flagella moves, the cell will also move, the cell will spin. When this transverse flagella inside, it is inside. So when it is inside, when it moves, when this transverse flagella which is inside, when it moves now, the cell will spin. The cell will spin, and because of the spinning movements, when the cell will spin now, because of the spinning movement, these dinoflagellates are also called as whirling whips. When this transverse flagella, which is in the transverse groove, it moves now, it creates spin, and because of that now, the cell will be having spinning movement. The cell will show spinning movement, and because of the presence of the spinning movement, these dinoflagellates, they are also called as whirling whips. These dinoflagellates are also called as whirling whips. An example of dinoflagellate is Goniolax. Goniolax is an example of dinoflagellate, one species of dinoflagellate. Now this one, the major important property of this Goniolax is it undergoes rapid multiplication. very fast it will multiply. It multiplies very fast. From one organism it multiplies into 2, from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. So within a very short period now, the multiplication will be very fast. So within a short period of time now, it covers a large area in water. As we said, they are mostly marine, that is they are present in marine water. They are present in water bodies. On the surface of the water bodies they will be present. So here, and they will multiply. The species of dinoflagellate, Goniolax, it will multiply very rapid, very fast, and within a short period, within a very short period now, it will cover the large area of water. It will cover large area of water. Because of rapid multiplication, many number of dinoflagellates are formed. Many new number of dinoflagellates are formed. When they occupy the space on the water, that area will appear as red. The area will be appear as red. On the water where we find the micro, that is dinoflagellates in large number now, that area will appear red. And why it is red? Why it appears red? Because this many flagellates, dinoflagellates are there on the surface, and those dinoflagellates have red color pigment in them. Those dinoflagellates have red color pigment in them. So that is why when they multiply, they are of red color. So when they fill the entire space on the water now, the whole space appears as red. And when, because if it is a water body, tides will come in the water bodies. So when the tide will come now, when tide rises, when a tide of water rises, it takes along that Goniolax. So when it appears, when the tide appears now at a higher level, it appears as red, because along with the water it also takes this Goniolax. Because of this now, when the water is moving upwards, the tide appears as red. So that is why it is called as red tide. Goniolax is responsible for the red tide in water bodies. Goniolax is responsible for the red tide in water bodies. They undergo very rapid multiplication. That is, within a very short period, they will increase in number very rapidly. And along with this now, they also produces toxins. Goniolax, they produces toxins. Toxins are nothing but chemicals, certain chemicals which will kill the other organisms. They produce certain chemicals, certain chemical inside the body, and that chemical will kill the other organisms which are living in the water body. If it is a water body, we do not find only this Goniolax or this dinoflagellates. Many number of organisms are present. But because of the rapid multiplication of this Goniolax is produced in large number, and when they are produced in large number now, each of them will produce toxin. So here they produce toxins, and that toxins, when it is released in water now, because of that release of toxin now, many other organisms which lives in that water body, they will die. So they multiply very rapidly and they produce toxins which will be killing the other organisms. This Goniolax is one example of dinoflagellate. We have another example, many are there. Noctiluca. This is also one example of dinoflagellates. And these dinoflagellates, they show one phenomenon, that is one property called as bioluminescence. Here or phosphorescence. Bioluminescence or phosphorescence. What happens in this property now? They glow during dark. When it is dark, when at night it is very dark now, they glow. They glow because of that glowing property, that is they are said to show bioluminescence, glowing. That is, these living organisms are producing light. These living organisms are producing light, and that luminescence or that presence of light or the glow, it is because of a protein called as luciferin. In their bodies, a protein called as luciferin will be present. This luciferin will absorb during daytime. During daytime, it absorbs the different wavelengths. When sun is there during that sunlight, this luciferin absorbs pigments at different wavelengths. And when at night whatever this luciferin has absorbed, whatever wavelength luciferin has absorbed during the daytime, it will be emitting in the night. And that because of that emitting of that wavelength, absorbed wavelength, here it will glow. It will glow. These organisms will glow. Example here is Noctiluca. It shows bioluminescence. How it shows? The protein luciferin will be absorbing different wavelengths during daytime, and during night time that the absorbed wavelengths will be emitted. So when it emits it releases certain that is, it releases energy in the form of light, and because of that they produce light during dark. So that property is called as bioluminescence or phosphorescence. Now apart from this inside their bodies, inside the cell, they also have oil and polysaccharides as reserve food materials. They have oil and polysaccharides as reserve food materials. And coming to the reproduction is most common mode of reproduction is asexual method. That is, they reproduce by binary fission. So by binary fission, the body divides into two halves. So from one organism, two new dinoflagellates will be produced. So reproduction is by binary fission, that is asexual mode. Asexual mode. These dinoflagellates these dinoflagellates, they show asexual reproduction, and that is by binary fission. And as this, one important point, as this they produce light they glow in the dark so there is one more name is given to them, that is, they are also called as fire algae. They are also called as fire algae because of the glowing in the dark, because of the production of some sort of light or glow during the dark. So they are also called as fire algae. So with this we complete another group of protista, that is dinoflagellates. Now here we have one more group, that is slime molds. We studied Chrysophyta, we have studied another group, that is dinoflagellates. Now the third group which we study under kingdom protista, it is slime molds. These slime molds, these organisms are saprophytic in nature. These organisms are saprophytic in nature, that is, they will be feeding on dead and decaying or decomposing matter. They cannot prepare their own food. They are not autotrophic. They are saprophytic, that is, they feed themselves on dead and decomposing matter. When there is dead and decomposing matter, the cell moves along with it and engulfs that organic matter. So they are called as decomposers. They are also called as decomposers because they will be feeding on the dead organisms or the dead bodies of plants and animals. So that is why they are also called as decomposers. That is, they are saprophytic. They are unicellular. Now they grows on dead and decomposing matter. They grows on dead and decomposing matter, and they are mostly found in dark and damp places. They are mostly found in dark and damp places. Their bodies does not have cell wall. In Chrysophyta, cell wall was present and the cell wall was having silica, deposition of silica. Then next dinoflagellates, they were also having cell wall, but the cell wall was made up of cellulose. Here in this third group, there is no cell wall. Cell wall is absent in slime molds. Here usually they are present in clusters, that is they will be living together. These cells, this is one cell, this is one, this is one. So they will be living together, they will be living together. Because of the coming together of the cells here the cytoplasm, this one, this dissolves. So because of this dissolving of this here, this one, the walls or the membrane, here what happens is they appears as mass, multinucleated, because this here one nucleus will be there, here one nucleus, here one nucleus, here one nucleus. This was one cell, this was one cell, this was one cell, this was one cell. Now here this has been disappeared. Now they will be appearing as like this. They will be appearing as mass of multinucleated cell. They will appear as mass of multinucleated cells. That is protoplasmic. Inside protoplasm will be present protoplasmic mass with multinucleated, that is many nucleus. Inside all this protoplasm will be present, many number of nucleus will be present, and this aggregate mass of cells, this aggregate mass of cells is called as plasmodium. This aggregate mass of cells is called as plasmodium, and it spreads to a few feet. This mass of cell or the plasmodium means plas is here false feet. Plasmodium, this aggregate is called as the plasmodium. This plasmodium is appear to be at few, that is a fuse, it is spread over several feet. So when they move along, when this aggregate moves along it engulfs the organic material. It engulfs the organic material, and during unfavorable conditions they form at the tip, they form fruiting bodies. At the tip they form fruiting bodies. They form fruiting bodies. At the tips they form fruiting bodies, and inside those fruiting bodies spores will be present. Spores will be present. They appears in group, and because of this appearance in group, here part of this layers is getting diminished, and they appear as protoplasmic mass with many nucleus. Because of the dissolving of this layer, because of the dissolving of this layer, the whole protoplasm of all the cells will combine, and all the nucleus will be in the protoplasm itself. So here it appears as mass of protoplasm with many nucleus, and it is like this. They are spread at several feet, and during unfavorable conditions they produce at the tip, they produce fruiting bodies, and inside this fruiting bodies spores will be present. Spores will be present. So when conditions are favorable, during unfavorable conditions fruiting bodies will be produced, and inside that spores will be present. But when the conditions are favorable, this fruiting bodies burst open and the spores will be released on the ground. The spores will be released on the ground. So from the ground it takes the nutrients and grows into new cell. It grows into new organism. So this was about the slime molds. In the next class we will see another group, another two groups, that is euglenoids and here protozoans. We have till now we have discussed chrysophytes, we have discussed dinoflagellates, we have discussed slime molds. Now we have two more groups left, that is euglenoids and protist. We will discuss in next class.